And now, you are watching WCTV News live at 5.
Welcome to WCTV's Newscast. I'm Mia Hinkins.
And I'm Brett Gambita.
Last week, Waynesburg University announced that Chick-fil-A would be accepting gift cards and e-gift cards. WCTV's Danny Flynn gives you an inside look at what this means for patrons.
For the longest time, students and local residents in the borough of Waynesburg were not allowed to use gift cards or e-gift cards at the Waynesburg Chick-fil-A location. But now, it has changed. The retail manager, Lloyd Amos, talked about why this change is good.
Yeah, so basically it's just to make Chick-fil-A more accessible for the public and for the students, to make it easier, because I know a lot of times, it's a struggle getting the funds. So it's the families can buy their kids gift cards and then come in and use them. Basically, things like that.
This sign was posted inside the restaurant 2 weeks ago to tell its students and customers about the new change to the location. However, as it is written, the Chick-fil-A app is not accepted at this location. The reason why they're making this change now is because they ran into technical difficulties with the software in years prior.
So I know they were having issues in the past with implementing the gift cards, just because it was, I believe it was a licensing issue. So now I guess they kind of ironed out the rough patches with it, and now they have it pretty much down.
So for those gift cards you have lying around and aren't quite sure how much money is left in it, you can go to the Chick-fil-A website and follow the steps provided to review the balance. There's also a section of the website about reoccurring questions about how to use a gift card with Chick-fil-A. Reporting outside the Chick-fil-A restaurant for WCTV News, I'm Danny Flynn.
Next Wednesday, SAB is hosting a Biskin Brew event in the Beehive at 4 p.m. Plus, next Tuesday and Wednesday, Team Hope will be promoting suicide awareness at the softball and baseball games. Coming up for Waynesburg residents is the Relay for Life next Thursday from 3 to 6 p.m. in Johnson Commons. To see all of the upcoming events around campus, students can head to their MyConnect pages to find that link.
Coming up, updates on the ceasefire with Iran.
Plus, an update on the price of oil and automatic registration for the military draft.
The announcement of a 2-week ceasefire in the war in Iran sent oil prices plummeting Wednesday. But experts say lower prices for everything from gasoline to airfare to produce won't come quickly for consumers. Karen Kaifa is in Washington with details.
A 2-week ceasefire agreement made on the condition that Iran agreed to reopen the critical Strait of Hormuz was enough to push oil prices lower Wednesday. But analysts say the fragile agreement doesn't guarantee oil tankers will be on the move quickly. In fact, Iran halted oil traffic in the Strait Wednesday after Israel attacked Hezbollah sites in Lebanon. The effective closure of the crucial Strait of Hormuz rocked global oil supply, and analysts anticipate it could take months to fully restore the flow and production of oil derailed by the war. Lingering uncertainty pushed the average price of a gallon of regular gas to $4.16 Wednesday, according to AAA. And while retail gas prices are expected to start falling in the coming days if all holds, price checker Gas Buddy estimates it'll still take 1 to 2 weeks for the average to get back below $4, leaving the squeeze on drivers, but also businesses who have started to pass those higher costs along to already weary consumers with new fees for things like shipping and logistics. In Washington, I'm Karen Kaifa.
Both U.S. President Donald Trump and leaders in Iran have portrayed last-minute ceasefire deal as a victory for their nations. President Trump says the U.S. will work with Iran to dig up and remove burned uranium. Trump also suggested the U.S. may be involved in securing the Strait of Hormuz in a joint venture with Iran, but it is unclear if Tehran is open to that plan. Ivan Rodriguez has the latest.
The ceasefire deal between Iran and the U.S., struck less than 2 hours before President Donald Trump's deadline, is now in place. But the temporary agreement is fragile. Wednesday morning, Secretary Pete Hegseth and the chairman of the U.S. Joint Chiefs of Staff cautiously welcomed the planned 2-week pause. The ceasefire may leave Tehran in effective control of the world's most important maritime choke point, the Strait of Hormuz. The continued control over the strait and Iran's potential charging of tolls for passage would mark a dramatic break from the international maritime order, giving Tehran effective veto power over what passes through, from food imports to oil and gas exports from its Arab neighbors. Pakistan has emerged as a key mediator between the U.S. and Iran in recent weeks, with the country's prime minister inviting delegations from both countries to Islamabad for talks Friday. Pakistan's ambassador to the U.S. says success of this process lies in secrecy. I'm Ivan Rodriguez reporting.
Trump described the continued Israeli strikes on Lebanon as a, quote, separate skirmish with Hormuz that was not included in the 2-week ceasefire deal. A senior White House official told CNN Tuesday that Israel agreed to suspend its bombing campaign as negotiations continue, but Trump appeared to accept that Israel would continue striking Lebanon in the meantime.
Consumer spending rose 0.5% in February. That's up from a 0.3% increase in January. The Commerce Department released a shutdown-delayed report Thursday. Report also showed that inflation remains stubbornly higher than typical. The Personal Consumption Expenditures Price Index climbed 0.4% from January. The U economy grew just 0.5% in the fourth quarter, ahead of the war with Iran.
Eligible men in the U.S. will soon automatically be registered for the military draft. Right now, eligible male U.S. citizens ages 18 to 25 are required to register through the Selective Service System online. However, a new automatic registration process was approved by Congress under the National Defense Authorization Act for fiscal year 2026. The move was made to streamline the previous process and save money. The proposed rule is currently under review by the Regulatory Affairs Office and awaiting finalization.
That will do it for national news. Coming up next is Wyatt Clatterball with your business and entertainment. But first, we step outside with Chase Maseko for a quick look at weather.
The sun is shining and spring has sprung here in Waynesburg, but will the weather continue to cooperate with us? That is the question. So you need to stick around right here on the newscast to find out.
I'm Wyatt Clatterball, here to give you your business B&E segment. Reality TV star Taylor Frankie Paul has filed for a protective order against her ex-boyfriend Dakota Mortensen. It came less than an hour before a court hearing in Utah Tuesday regarding his order of protection against her. They both stem from an incident in February where the two accused each other of domestic violence. Paul says Mortensen's claims was an effort to sabotage her career. She also claims he slammed her head against his truck dashboard after forcing her into the vehicle and driving her away from the home where her children were asleep. In 2023, Paul was indicted for throwing metal chairs at Mortensen. One of them allegedly struck her 5-year-old daughter. Back in March, Mortensen was granted temporary custody of the 2-year-old boy he shares with Paul. At the hearing on Tuesday, Paul was temporarily granted supervised visits with the child amid the ongoing legal dispute. Meta announced a new AI model on Wednesday. Called Muse Spark, the large language model is the company's first major iteration in more than a year. Meta has spent billions of dollars hiring people to catch up with competitors like OpenAI and Anthropic. The company says Muse Spark scored better than Google, Gemini, and some tests and was competitive with other major AI models. Last year, Meta admitted it manipulated benchmark scores for its previous model called Llama 4. For now, Muse Spark is set to remain closed. Meta said it may open some versions of the model to outside developers at a later time. The deadline to file your 2025 taxes is quickly approaching. You have until April 15th to file your return. That means you have less than 1 week left. In today's Consumer Watch, Jen Sullivan has tips for people filing last minute.
The clock is ticking to file your 2025 taxes. You have until April 15th at midnight in your time zone, but tax experts recommend filing as soon as possible. Mark Stieber with Jackson Hewitt Tax Services says it can take you several hours to fill everything out, and if you're filing without professional help, it can take even longer. The good news is there's still time, and you're not alone waiting until the last minute. The IRS says roughly 20 to 25% of Americans wait until the last 2 weeks before the deadline to prepare their returns. So what if you make a mistake and it's caught after the deadline? If you need more time, you can file for a 6-month extension, but you must submit the request before April 15th, and any money you owe the IRS must be paid by April 15th. If you don't pay the IRS on time, you'll face a late penalty of 7% interest on the money owed. Stieber says it's not too late to ask a tax professional for help. And if you need help, most big tax services have extra staff through the 15th to help you file on time. For Consumer Watch, I'm Jen Sullivan.
The crew of Artemis II missions are homeward bound, following their record-breaking journey around the moon. On day 8 of their historic space voyage, the astronauts took questions during a press conference from space. Their anticipated return is in less than 48 hours. They are scheduled to splash down Friday evening off the coast of San Diego. Recovery teams will pick the crew up in helicopters and take them to the USS John P. Murtha, where they will undergo medical evaluations before traveling back to shore. On Wednesday, NASA released more images from the mission, including a group photo and a new image of our galaxy, the Milky Way. Here's David Daniel with today's Hollywood Minute.
The latest clip from Michael recreates the King of Pop's legendary Motown 25 performance, including Jackson's first ever moonwalk. Michael opens in theaters April 24th. Wilderness Girls Roll Call. Deadline reports the 1989 comedy Troop Beverly Hills is finally getting a sequel, with Cameron Diaz set to fill Shelley Long's fashionable shoes. The film is in development at Sony's TriStar Pictures. Steal This Story, Please looks at legendary investigative journalist Amy Goodman, the longtime host of the independent radio show Democracy Now! The documentary's title comes from Goodman's hope that other media outlets steal her work on underreported stories. The film opens in New York Friday and expands in the weeks ahead. Locations and showtimes at stealthisstory.org. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
That will do it for your business and entertainment update. I'm Wyatt Clatterball. When we return on the newscast, Braden King has your sports.
Oh, I didn't see you there. I'm Mia Hinkins, and welcome to Buell Hall, home of Waynesburg University's Department of Communication. If you visit our campus, you'll have the opportunity to attend some comm classes, enjoy lunch with our students, and watch us in action. We hope to see you here soon at Waynesburg University.
To schedule your personal visit, go to waynesburg.edu/admissions/schedule-visit. Come grow with us at Waynesburg University.
Welcome back to the Newscast live at 5. I'm Braden King, and here is your sports. First, in the high school ranks, Greene County sports is in full swing right now with baseball and softball season underway. In baseball, Carmichael's is sitting in third in Section 1A of the WPIAL Class 1A with a 4-2 conference record to start the year, a solid start for the Mikes. They split the series earlier this week against Jeanette, losing 7-4, but then bouncing back with their win 6-4. Their next home game is against Greensburg Central Catholic on Monday, April 13th at 4:15 p.m. Waynesburg Central baseball stands with a 2-1 record in conference Section 4-3A. In softball, Carmichael's are in first place of Section 2-1A with a 3-0 record in conference. They took down Beth Center 11-0 in their last game. A big matchup, though, tomorrow as Carmichael's attempts to keep their stranglehold on first place against 3-1 Jefferson Morgan. Waynesburg Central softball right now sits at a 2-1 conference record in Section 4 of Class 2A, which is good for second place. For more information, take a look at greensports.net. In Waynesburg sports, the Yellow Jackets baseball team is playing against Grove City right now. Waynesburg faced Bethany in a doubleheader yesterday at the baseball and softball complex and dropped both games 12-7 and 12-4. In Game 1, Waynesburg was trailing 7-2 and stormed back with 5 unanswered runs to claw back and make it 7-7. After that, Bethany scored 2 runs in the 7th and 3 more in the 9th to take Game 1. In Game 2, Waynesburg fell behind early again, trailing 7-1 halfway through the game and ultimately couldn't recover. Bethany held on 12-4. Waynesburg is currently in Grove City to face the Wolverines, and they already dropped Game 1 18-3. Game 2 is scheduled for 4 p.m., and it's currently underway. You can find that stream on the PAC Digital Network. In softball, the Jackets swept Franciscan on Tuesday afternoon at home. In Game 1, freshman pitcher Morgan Walt dominated the circle, notching a complete game effort, only allowing 4 hits and 3 walks. She improves to 3-0 on the year. Junior Jamie Kelly was once again a standout as she went 3 for 3 with 2 doubles and 2 RBIs and a run scored. Waynesburg won Game 1 6-1. In Game 2, Waynesburg run-ruled Franciscan after a walk-off 3-run homer by Jamie Kelly in the 5th and gave the Barons an early ride back to Steubenville, as Waynesburg won Game 2 10-1 and swept Franciscan. In professional sports, the Pittsburgh Pirates are off today after dropping 2-3 against the San Diego Padres this week. The Pirates finished their 6-game homestand at PNC Park with a 4-2 record, and they sit at 7-5 overall, and third in the NL Central, 1 game back of first. The Pirates go back in action tomorrow in a 3-game set against the Chicago Cubs at Wrigley Field. First pitch for each game is 2:20. Despite not playing today, the Pirates were in the news when they unveiled their City Connect uniforms today at 10 a.m. Eastern on multiple social media platforms. The hype video featured current stars like Paul Skeens, O'Neal Cruz, and Connor Griffin, but also featured former Pirates pitcher A.J. Burnett wearing the uniform in the video. According to the Pirates website, the Bucs plan to wear these uniforms during every Friday night home game for the rest of the season. Their first game is on April 17th against the Tampa Bay Rays. On the ice, the Pittsburgh Penguins' magic number is 2. 2 points tonight would clinch a playoff spot for the Pens for the first time since 2022. The Penguins travel to the Provincial Center in Newark, New Jersey to battle the New Jersey Devils and the Golden goal scorer Jack Hughes. Puck drop is scheduled for 7:08 p.m. If the Penguins cannot rack up 2 points tonight, they need just 1, and the Sabres, a win over Columbus, would clinch the spot. If the Penguins lose in regulation overall and don't pick up a point, the Maple Leafs win over New York plus a Sabres victory would be needed to clinch tonight. The Penguins need to focus on one task, because as simple as it sounds, if you win, you're in. In pro football news, the Steelers will be hosting the NFL Draft in just 2 weeks. Coverage has been on fire lately as parking garages close and construction workers begin to develop the scene on the North Shore for the draft of the night of April 23rd. Notably, expected first overall pick in the NFL Draft this year, Heisman Trophy winner and college football playoff national champion quarterback Fernando Mendoza will not attend the draft festivities in Pittsburgh, opting to stay with family at a watch party in Miami. Schools are expected to be closed and switch to remote learning that week around the Pittsburgh area ahead of the massive traffic delays that will be upon us soon. So stay tuned for that. The first round of the NFL Draft will be broadcast on ESPN and NFL Network at 8 p.m. on April 23rd, rounds 2 and 3 the next day, and rounds 4 through 7 on Saturday the 25th. And that is your sports. I'm Braden King. After this short break, Chase Maseko will bring you the weather. You're watching the Newscast live at 5.
Welcome back to the Newscast Live at 5. I'm Chase Maseko with your weather. It's been a beautiful day here in Waynesburg, PA, where we peaked just a little bit ago at our high of 77 degrees with the sun still shining. Winds have been between 10 and 15 miles per hour today, but they will calm as the night progresses on. As we take a look at the weekend weather, it continues to build on the warmer temps with mostly sunny skies tomorrow and a high of 79 and a low in the 40s during the morning. Saturday cools down a little bit, but the high is still 66, with the lows still hanging out in the 40s at 44. Sunday will be beautiful with a high of 83, so get outside and enjoy the weather. And as we move into our full week of weather, Monday's temperature starts in the 60s until it reaches our high of 73 degrees, and it's mostly sunny all day with a 40% chance of rain. Tuesday gets back into the 80s with a high of 82, but a 42% chance of rain. Wednesday will get even hotter with a high of 87 and a low into the 60s. So at least for this week, the cold weather seems to be behind us. But this is Pennsylvania, so I'm not too hopeful. That's going to do it for your weather here on the Newscast. Sending it back to Brett and Mia to close us out.
That will do it for the Newscast live at 5. For everyone behind the scenes and in front of the camera, thank you for watching.
Stay tuned on our WCTV YouTube page and social media platforms for more Waynesburg content.
This has been a production of Waynesburg Community Television.